when order behind bars is lost. It's nearly 25 years since prisoners rioted for nearly a month at Manchester's Strangeways jail. Nearly 25 years since a judge concluded blame lay not just with the rioters, but with a system on the brink. There's no suggestion the currently calm exteriors of Britain's prisons are about to yield another Strangeways. But for those who see life on the inside, it's the things that might otherwise go unnoticed that spell trouble. Christmas behind bars is bleak. Emotions run high. So it's more important than ever that our prisons are run properly. But Newsnight has learned that staff shortages are so bad that some prison officers are having to be bussed hundreds of miles around the country just to keep jails running safely. Over the coming weeks, 250 staff will be moved. Some will have to travel 166 miles from Aylesbury to Leeds, 179 miles from Durham to Leicester, and 232 miles from Exeter Dartmoor to Swaleside. One of Britain's higher security jails, Woodhill in Milton Keynes, will need 32 officers, and they'll all have to come from other Category A prisons like Whitemoor and Frankland. But prison officers say this is about much more than a few unfamiliar faces on the wing at lights out.
It means that prisons are permanently in a state of flux. We have 250 prison officers traversing the country day in, day out to prop up failing and restricted regimes in prisons. It means that the much vaunted rehabilitation revolution isn't taking place.
For today's inmates, the lack of prison officers means being locked up for up to 23 hours a day. They miss education courses and exercise routines. It makes them angry.
Howard League is particularly concerned that staff are being taken out of a children's prison and put into an adult males prison. So that means that the children will be locked up over Christmas, probably for about 3 weeks, in their cells all the time. That's because the staff in the children's prisons have already been cut by 40%, and there simply won't be anybody on duty over the Christmas period to open up the cells and give them anything to do. So these young teenage boys will spend their time locked in basically what is something the size of a cupboard with a toilet in it for 3 or possibly 4 weeks.
The figures look grim. Prison officer numbers have plummeted since 2010, from nearly 28,000 to just 19,000 last year. Meanwhile, the prison population remains at a near record high of close to 86,000. Unions point to a rise in serious attacks on staff. Prisoner suicides have jumped too. Recent inmates say the situation is deteriorating.
There were a lot of vulnerable prisoners, particularly some young prisoners, some as young as 18, who were subject, while I was in prison, to quite severe physical assaults, even sexual assaults. And I think that there was a general feeling that because of the shortage of officers in particular, that bullying was on the rise.
Well, it sounds like from what you're saying that prison officers have already lost control.
I think that in some cases the only way that they're maintaining order is by locking up large sections of the prison population and then only unlocking them under very controlled